Honda. It's just, the feel of it's an absolute blast. I mean, while it's not the fastest car in the world, it's not what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a driver's car. It's supposed to be fun to drive. It's supposed to be spirited, and that's exactly what it is. My name is Sawyer Myers. I'm from right here in Madison, Wisconsin, and I drive a 2009 Honda Civic SI Coupe.
We ain't going for the gold. We breaking necks and going for the throat. Don't gotta check us now, you better know. Smile and baby, all power now, I'm burning bright. Smile and baby, some people trying to roll my right. Smile and baby, pull the chains, pull off the chains, and I walk my way. It's my rebellion.
I picked it up, what would be 3 summers ago, so by far the longest car I've ever owned, and I've had a lot of them. I had a BMW before that, caused a lot of problems. I'm done with BMWs, wanted something newer, something low maintenance that's also a lot of fun, you know, in a good price range for somebody in their, you know, lower 20s in college still. So found this one. Original owner was from right here in Madison, completely stock. So it's just the ideal first car that nobody's messed with that I could really make my own. So I chose this one just because the whole Honda stigma is that it's super reliable, it's very low maintenance. So somebody that was in college, I wanted to be able to modify it without constantly having to put repair money into it like what I had with the BMW. So I learned how to drive manual for the first time in an old 90s Toyota car, and then from there just a little Volkswagen Jetta. So they had a whole lot of play in them, they weren't real precise at all. So getting into something like this, it's super notchy, very precise when you're going from gear to gear. Really makes you feel, you know, as the cliche goes, connected with the car. It's just a really good feeling, you know, shifter going between the gears. So I've got 18 by 9.5 plus 22 Heritage Hokkaido DIRCs, so they're the monoblock version of the 3-piece wheels. I've got those on 215, 35, 18 Nitto Neogens, as well as Airlift 3P air suspension with performance struts. I got custom carbon fiber side splitters made by Easy Splitters with the built-in winglets, SPC rear camber arms, a bamboo shift knob made by BAM Shifts, the waffle grip shift knob, an STI S204 front lip, so it's actually made for the STIs, made it to fit this car. Also got an NVIDIA N1 3-inch catback exhaust as well. And I also have a Kevman's carbon fiber duckbill trunk on there as well. So before I had this trunk, I just had the stock trunk with a Mugen wing on it. Wasn't a big fan of how that was, especially when I got my new wheels and tires on there. I wanted a new setup and add some carbon fiber to the car. Found a company called Kevman's, so I reached out to Kevman's over Instagram. I was able to get an order placed for this trunk, which they have to make from overseas and then actually import it and made to order. So it took quite a long time to get it. So the hand brush silver finish on the wheels, what it is up close you can see the hand brush marks from factory when they were making that, which makes it a unique finish rather than just like a straight powder coat or paint. It's actually hand brushed into the wheel so you can see the strokes going around the wheel. Really gives it that one-of-a-kind look in a sense, or something you don't really see too often with any wheel on the streets. When I got my first set of wheels for it, the ones before these, I got coilovers at the same time, so I actually had coilovers on this before I put air suspension on. The reason that I did make the upgrade to the air suspension is I wanted, you know, I'm a stance guy more than anything, so I wanted to be able to just drop it all the way down for car shows, things like that. So I have that, but I also wanted something to where I could raise it up, not worry about have to be super low, hit bumps and all that stuff and scrape. I mean, I still scrape, but not nearly as much as if I was a lot lower. So just having that adjustability to just raise it up if you need to, go even higher to get over bumps, and then just be able to air it all the way down when you get to shows or when you're parking. Just having that full adjustability is absolutely huge. So I do get a little bit of crap just because the engine is stock. Only thing that touches the engine that I've done, it would be the exhaust. Reason it's stock is I am a stance person first, so I had a vision and a goal when I made this car to make it to sit perfectly how I wanted it to, take it to shows, make sure it's reliable. You know, being at the age I was at when I bought it, you can only do one at a time until you save up again. So I wanted to start with the cosmetics, get it where I want it to. I do have plans for it. I actually have a Honda tuner at home that I just haven't installed yet, so I can at least get a tune on there. But I also have plans to get a hybrid racing cold air intake. We'll kind of see what happens from there. If I had an extreme vision a few years from now, I'd love to put a turbo kit on it. But right now, I just love it how it drives, and then over time, you know, I'll start to be able to add some more stuff to it. I have the two ProClip mounts in there, one for my phone and one for my airlift controller. Found ProClip a few years ago, just being from the Madison area. I had a few different products that I've had on a few different vehicles, and I would put the phone on there and it would just fall down, or I would go over a bump and it would fall down. And I need to put my controller somewhere that's not in my cup holder, taking up that space, make it look real nice and clean, and somewhere to put my phone, and I had absolutely nothing. So when I got the ProClip mounts installed, I haven't had any problems. Those things are really, really strong. With the suspension that I have and the aggressive setup I have the dampening turned all the way up, so the suspension is as stiff as it can get, which means that it's a pretty bumpy ride, and I have had zero issues with that. So the fact that I have those mounts, it just holds on tight, and those things just don't move at all, no matter how hard the bump. It's just an absolute blast to drive, to be able to rev match when I'm downshifting, just to hear the pops coming out of the back. When I bought the car being in college, it was something that I had been through a lot of vehicles in the past. They weren't really modifiable, they weren't really anything fun, and I always wanted something that I could really make my own, that was a lot of fun, but still reliable, and it was still a sports car I could take to shows. I've never had a car I could take to shows, and working where I work now at Fitment Industries definitely had a big influence on pushing me to continue the build. This car has taken me on quite a journey, and it's quite literally the reason that I work where I do and I live where I do. It's my sense of freedom. I don't do much outside of car-related things, so when I'm driving this, it's just, I can just focus on the road in the car. It's just me and that. I can just let all the thoughts go of the day and just drive it, and just drive it spiritedly, and it's just an absolute blast.